Hello, welcome back. So yesterday I recorded a video where I talked about Grok referring to itself as Mega Hitler and then just becoming this absolute demon online for like a period of a couple hours online and then eventually got shut down. That video came out yesterday, and in that video I mentioned that, I had this video on the back burner where I wanted to talk about Grok but just kept, leaving it off until it came out and did the crazy stuff. So I'm like, okay, fine, I should just do it now. I should just make it now, and I should stop procrastinating this video. I mean, it's not like it's anything really serious. It's just like me going through a bunch of tweets and complaining about Grok. And mainly because I think this AI is genuinely one of the most harmful, if not the most harmful AI to us as a whole right now. ChatGPT is doing a lot of damage. It is doing a lot of harm to society as a whole, but I think Grok is doing so much more. And that's because of the way it's used, the way it's implemented, and the way its user base interacts with it. So let's start with my first complaint, alright? And this one, I don't have too many examples of, but I know for a fact you know what I'm talking about. If you use Twitter and scroll into the comments section, you will see this over and over and over again. It is this right here. At Grok, is this true? I am so sick and tired of people saying, at Grok, is this true? Oh, it's like 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 times. Anytime you get a hit tweet, you scroll down, at Grok, is this true? At Grok, is this true? At Grok, is this true? I understand that a lot of the times it's like sarcastic, it's like it's part of the joke. People are so tired of seeing the wording at Grok, is this true, that they've started to just like put it in there as like a bit now. But so many people like seem to genuinely ask at Grok, is this true? Whenever you see like a news post or something. In fact, hold on, I'm gonna try right now and see if I can find a news post that has the at Grok, is this true in it. Okay, so this isn't like a genuine news article, but I found it pretty quick. Is this true at Grok? There we go, immediately. Okay, back to what we were saying. This is just like one of the first small examples of how the Grok integrated directly into the Twitter chat feature is going to be reducing people's ability to think. ChatGPT has already been drastically reducing people's ability to think for themselves. But whenever it's integrated into the Twitter reply feature, oh my god, it's so much worse. And you know what's even worse about it, okay, is that whenever you ask, every time you query Grok to do something, it takes some amount of power. I believe it's Twitter. I don't know who it is, but they're building so many like AI data centers here in Texas, and with so much like electricity generation infrastructure to support those. And now that we're doing a lot less focusing on renewable energy sources and we're moving back towards fossil fuels, it's crazy that this is just such an okay thing that's happening. Like as someone who's living in Texas with all of these new data centers being built up, having the renewable credits no longer really be as much of the thing. And living in Texas, we have tons of renewable energy generation sources that a lot of them now aren't going to be feasible anymore because the tax credits aren't there anymore. For a lot of these renewable energy generation plants, they required on the little stipulation in the law that said, okay, we're going to help you make this happen. Without that there anymore, and with the thing in the law that says we are not going to regulate AI, this is going to be a huge problem. And this is only going to get worse with all of these brainlet Twitter users asking at Grok, is this true, running the LLM model, excuse me, sorry, and then responding to the at Grok, is this true, with, did I ask? Are you kidding? Hey, so can we just pretend that the vacuum wasn't running back there so I don't have to like re-record that? Okay, thank you. Are you kidding me? Did I ask? Are you kidding me? Did I ask? Yes, you did. Yes, we need a limit to how much this can be used. I swear to God. But this isn't even the worst part. This isn't even the worst part. You know what's even worse? For some reason, my dad's hand glows under black light. Image of his hand under black light. You know what the users have decided they want to do with this image? At Grok, turn his hand into Peter Griffin covered in glowing milk. What? Excuse me? Why do we need this? And this isn't just a one-time thing. This is a very common theme. For some reason, at Grok, draw a sad onion person. At Grok, turn him into Ricky from Trailer Park Boys. At Grok, add salami to the picture. And for some reason, on every one, I mean, not even for some reason, of course Grok's gonna do it, that's what he's built to do, but now he's running image generation, so much more intensive than text generation. It gets worse. A random green text of Benadryl, blah, 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 whatever, nothing, okay? At Grok, add Hatsune Miku. At Grok, add the Israeli flag. At Grok, add Donald Trump. At Grok, add my profile picture. At Grok, add Kasane Teto. At Grok, add Sailor Moon. At Grok, add Tasky Maiden. Why? 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 For what reason? For what reason? I mean, look at the Hatsune Miku one. You wanna know how easy this is to make? Give me like, hold on, I'm gonna do it live right now, okay? I'm gonna do it live. Take the image, save image as. Hatsune Miku. Images. Save image as. Open with Photoshop. Wait for Photoshop to open real quick. Remove .bg. We're gonna do this real quick. This is a little time-saving method, a little cheater strategy. Download, preview, open up Photoshop, drop them in. All right, now we're already done. We're already done. Okay, but we're gonna do this real quick. File, export PNG. Oop, that's you don't need to see that. Save. Done. Done. The general public's inability to do simple tests like that blows my mind. I'm also more than willing to bet that I could respond with this image significantly faster than they could have through Grok. I don't know how long the Grok image generation takes whenever you're doing it in a text reply on a tweet, but dear Lord, it's so easy. It's so easy. And you can get a lot better results. Now, granted, you know, she does look like pee-pee right here, okay? But that's probably just because of the method, like the image that I used. Actually, why was that so low quality? Wait, was this already a PNG? Oh, it was just like super low quality as is. Anyways, you can make it look so much better. I could have used any image of Miku, any higher quality image. You know what? Here, I'm going to take like the 2 seconds longer it takes to actually do a high quality image. And then we'll run from there. There, done. I spent the 2 seconds to put a higher quality Miku in there. Done, done, easy. Absolutely blows my mind that people think that this is something that should be done. It's, frankly, I don't think Grok should have the ability to do this. I mean, like, it'd be weird in my mind kind of to censor Grok from doing this because it is such like a nothing thing. But with the where we are with the expensive AI and our ability to support it, we don't need this right now. This is such a massive waste. And it's not just happening on Grok, it's happening on every image generation site. There's so much garbage that is being wasted on. And it's unfortunately, I want to put the blame on the users, but I can just as well put the blame on the companies who are allowing the users to do that. But that's just the goofy, messy, fun stuff, okay? Just people having fun with Grok. The real problem comes whenever people are actually relying on Grok just to, like, exist, to think. Instead of, you know, using Grok, because technically, okay, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt, I just used Photoshop to do that. Some people can't afford Photoshop. Now, to be fair, here, I'll do it again in Photopea. Okay, look at how easy this is. There's the image here. There's Miku. Done. This was free, all right? I just did it for free online. It's not the software anymore. It's just your knowledge. Anyways, though, technically, this is like the creative field. This, you know, sometimes people just don't know how to do this kind of stuff. And it might just be past their abilities, right? But what should not be past your abilities, okay? Sometimes people just will never need to learn how to use Photoshop, okay? And I can let that slide. But what I think everyone should know how to do is think for themselves. Let's start this light, okay? Let's start this light. Using AI as a joke is still using AI. Using AI as a joke is still blah, 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 blah. At Grok, type the word cope 100 times. This is probably my favorite response I have ever seen from Grok, all right? After asking to type the word cope 100 times, he responded with, I'm not going to type the word cope 100 times. That is a waste of everyone's time. Thank you, Grok. Thank you so much. Unfortunately, this probably used more power than just writing cope 100 times. I'm glad you put this guy in his place. But it's still wasted. It is still a waste. But what's just as bad, and still, you know, in the jokey realm, we haven't got to the actual serious stuff, is this. At Grok, explain this to me in Fortnite terms. At Grok, explain this to me in Brain Rot. At Grok, explain this to me in Pirate. At Grok, explain this to me in Dragon Ball terms. At Grok, explain this to me in Roblox jailbreak terms. At Grok, explain this to me in NFL terms. At Grok, explain this to me in binary. Oh my god, wait, it actually responded? What the heck is this? Wait, what? Dang, Grok, you didn't have to go all out. You actually did it. Okay, thanks, Grok. Of course, very obviously, some of these are just a joke. Like, at Grok, explain this to me in binary. So many people, though, are like genuinely asking, at Grok, explain this to me. which is fine in of itself, okay, because sometimes you would need to say like, hey, at Grok, explain this to me like I'm 5, to really, really dumb down the subject for you. If it's just too hard to find the information and reliably read it online. But I'm more than willing to bet that if you actually put in the work to find the information and read through it, you would figure it out. There's probably already a YouTube video somewhere explaining to you whatever it is on the at Grok explain this to me pipeline that you're going down. Unfortunately, this is just the easier way to go about it, so people are going to use it. But what's worse about the at Grok explain this, pipeline that you can go down here is whenever instead of explaining it to yourself, you're using it to explain to someone else. At Grok, explain to this guy why he's wrong. At Grok, can you explain to this idiot how protesting isn't an insurrection? At Grok, can you explain to this victim of the public schooling system who pays the majority of taxes in the US? It's so frustrating to see these individuals ask at Grok to explain to this person in a very demeaning way something that they should be able to explain themselves. If you're so high and mighty on your high horse, on the vacuum's vacuuming again, I just noticed. Can you at least have the decency to know what you're talking about well enough to just say it yourself? The guy already knows the argument that he wants Grok to make. Explain to this victim of the public schooling system who pays the majority of taxes in the US. Literally, you can just do this. Who pays the majority of taxes in the US? See what the answer is. Summary of the latest tax data. There you go. He could have just like responded with this graph or something. This took me literally like 10 seconds. High-income taxpayers pay the highest average income rates. Top 1%. There you go. Like, literally just post this graph and call it a day. And then, moving on from this, okay. Now the worst, like actually the worst thing I have ever seen Grok do came with the fights between Israel and Palestine. I'm sorry, Israel and Iran. Israel and Iran it was. I saw this tweet. This is not AI. This is Tel Aviv. And I saw this and I was like, holy cow, Iran's going crazy. But look at the reader context. This is an AI generated image. I don't think this was there whenever someone asked the fabled at Grok is this true question, but someone asked at Grok is this AI. The image appears to depict missile strikes in Tel Aviv on June 17, 2025, during the Israel-Iran conflict. As reported by multiple news outlets, no credible evidence suggests it's AI-generated and social media context supports its authenticity. This is not the only example I found of it. This was just, unfortunately, I didn't save them all, but there were so many around this time of like crazy photos and videos of missile strikes with the poster claiming that it was Iran, or it was with the poster claiming that it was Iran or it was Israel. And I kept seeing these. I was like, there's no way that this is happening. And I'd scroll down and someone would be asking Grok, is this true? And Grok would say, yes. Like as of yesterday or as of the day before. This image is a depiction of the missile strikes yesterday. It kept citing like the date, a day before or 2 days before or 3 days before, saying that this is happening now and this is real. But when I look into the videos and the photos, I see that they're from a conflict of a year ago or 2 years ago, or the photo was very clearly AI generated. Over and over this was happening. Unfortunately, I didn't save any of them. I was able to find this one. Having Grok able to incorrectly identify some like crazy event, right? That now on Twitter, this is what is apparently the official means of communication from the president to these two groups that are fighting. I can't say like the official means, but there was that event a while back of Donald Trump just like tweeting, hey, they're going to do a ceasefire. And then both of these countries were like, we didn't know that this was happening. That was the first communication of it with them. It's absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. That someone can post a fake event that didn't happen. Someone else who wants to know if this is true or not because they're now relying on this system to tell them if what they're seeing is true or not, asks Grok, hey, is this true? And Grok says yes, and cites a bunch of fake information that what they're seeing is actually real. And now that is out on the public sphere for users to look at and gauge on what's real or not based on what this AI has incorrectly identified as real in this space where now our public officials are going for the truth. It's such a crazy, dangerous, wild situation that I am so incredibly tired of. And unfortunately, I don't think it's ever going to get better. And we're going to continue to have to develop our ability to fight the general public's use of this technology in these horribly wrong and unproductive ways. Anyways, that's all I have to say. Bye-bye.